Hello and welcome to this Q&A that I'm going to do with some unseen questions about my book that comes out very soon actually, at the end of June. It's called Promotion Isn't the Point, and it's all about how to move from manager to leader by mastering your craft, yourself and your systems first so that the promotion then follows, because the whole premise of the book is the fact that people, especially in the corporate world, but people, when you work for someone else, the goal is often to get a promotion. And actually, that's completely the wrong thing to focus on. When we go from manager to leader, the goal needs to be to become a leader. Because at that point, the transition from manager to leader is more about an identity shift than it is about capabilities. So here we go. These are the questions. First question. Tell me about a time that you hit rock bottom in your career and what it taught you. Question one. So for me, I hit rock bottom when I got really burnt out at work. And the reason that I got burnt out at work is because I was gunning for a promotion that was never meant for me. So I had, after a really difficult conversation with my manager, after yet another really long week, I basically cried for 3 days straight. And then I realised that that is very much not normal. Because of that, I went to the doctor. The doctor signed me off work, and that gave me space to reconnect with me, with myself, with my friends, my family, nature, energy, everything. And in that space, it taught me that I was gunning for a job that I never actually wanted, because it was working towards my ego. I wanted to be head of something. I didn't actually enjoy the work itself. And then it taught me one of the most important lessons, which is that to thrive at work, you need to be happy in what you do. You need to work within your zone of genius and map that to your ikigai. And your zone of genius is, of course, the middle of the Venn diagram where what you love and what you're good at overlap. And your ikigai adds to that what you can get paid for and what the world needs. And if you haven't heard of ikigai, it is a Japanese concept which, when literally translated, means reason for being. Okay, next question. How do you design your own leadership? How do you design your own leadership? Okay, so this is starting with two really important things. So it starts with the fundamentals of feeling good from the inside. And the second piece is it starts with you. So this is where what I talk about differs from what you will see in the corporate world, from all the training that you will be given there. So the important part of this is that to redesign your own leadership. So I call myself a leadership architect because the architecture piece is around the fact that I have studied and worked with loads of amazing, incredible leaders. And the more work I do, the deeper that I go into these things, the more I realize that there is a formula to follow to creating a really great leader. But it starts with these two things. It starts with you. And like I said, this is not what they teach you in the corporate world. You need to know who you are. You need to find your zone of genius. You need to map that to your ikigai. You need to fully, completely and utterly accept yourself, warts and all. So, and this is even more important the more senior you get, because the stuff that you don't like doing, you're not very good at doing, you can outsource that to other people. Praise the Lord, brilliant. You don't have to do that stuff anymore. But also, it's really important to know who you are and just to go big in what you love and what you're good at, because this is where you will naturally thrive. This is what I teach. And then the other part of that is around setting some really great foundations. So in architecture, in an archway, the middle stone of the archway is called the keystone. So when I talk about health and setting a foundation of health, I call it the keystone layer, because it is responsible for the entire structural integrity of that arch, in the same way that our health is responsible for the entire structural integrity of our lives. Two things. Set great foundations with your health, lean in, rediscover and find your ikigai and your zone of genius. And then I guess a third one is radical self-acceptance. So accept and love who you are and then work from a place of that. Tell me about a time when you chased the wrong thing in your career. Okay, so this is when I was gunning for the promotion that I never really wanted. I wanted it because my ego wanted it. And that was something that I didn't realize until it was kind of taken off the table. I didn't realize it until I basically had such bad burnout that I cried after a difficult conversation with my manager for 3 days straight and realized that that was absolutely abnormal. That was not a normal response to a difficult conversation. So the time that I chased the wrong thing was chasing that promotion. It was chasing that position, which was never meant for me. It didn't work towards my strengths. It wasn't within my zone of genius. It wasn't anything that I deeply cared about. But I had to go on that journey to get to where I am today. So the moment that broke me was after the end of a really difficult week. I had a one-to-one with my manager for 30 minutes, and we had launched this campaign, multi-million-pound campaign, and it hadn't gone very well. And he basically, long story short, he tried to lay the blame with me, and I was absolutely gobsmacked about how he had tried to make this really tiny thing my fault. And I was so angry and so frustrated. And basically it was kind of the culmination of the last 3 years worth of anger and frustration that came out. Thankfully, after this call, I managed to hold it together and not cry on the call itself. But after the call finished, I broke down for 3 days straight, which, as we know, is not normal. And the reason that changed my leadership is because it, like I said, it gave me the space to get back in touch with who I am, what I love, what I'm good at. And then what I did is I took the promotion off the table, I redesigned my role to my zone of genius, and I prioritised my health first. So I had really amazing boundaries. So I never worked before 9 a.m. I always took a full hour for lunch, and I always finished at 5. And you know what? It made me the best at my job. And I thought that doing these things would basically kind of stop me being good at my job, when in actually they were an enabler. Okay, next question. What does it actually mean to master yourself? So I've talked about this just now. To master yourself, you need to fully and utterly and completely accept yourself, warts and all, exactly who you are. You need to know your zone of genius, which is what you love and what you're good at. You need to map that with your ikigai, so add to that what the world needs and what you can get paid for. And that is the beginning of mastering yourself, as well as that keystone layer that we've just talked about of prioritizing your health. Those 3 things are the foundation of mastering yourself. How do you master your craft without burning out? So I think that this is the key to not burning out, which is knowing what your craft is. So I do a workshop on this called Purpose by Design, and it's all about how you kind of redefine and remember what your craft is by talking about what you love, what you're good at, what you used to love, what you used to be good at, what you used to spend your time doing, who you are as a person right now. We go really deep into these questions, along with a guided visualization, which actually I'll put in the link on here. There's a free guided visualization that I offer, and that is going to help you get back in tune with who you are and your craft, what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, what you can get paid for. That is how you master your craft. And I believe that when you're working in the space of mastering your craft, you don't get burnout because you love it. What do most leaders get wrong about systems? So most people get wrong about systems the fact that they think that they're really complicated things. The best systems that we use are the simplest ones. So this is all about how, if you want to work out in the morning or in the afternoon, or if you want to create great boundaries in your working day, then set reminders, use your calendar to do this. Set reminders to prioritize time for strategic thinking in the week, and do this every week. And yes, there's a system for this. Drop me a message, tessa@tessagrint.com if you want it. Systems don't have to be complicated. They can be really simple. The best systems are the simplest systems. For example, putting a reminder in your diary to do something recurring every day or every week or whatever it needs to be, so that you actually do that thing. What is a leadership architect? Great question. Coaching is all about changing the mind. Architecture changes the environment. So I'm sure loads of us are aware of James Clear's book, Atomic Habits. So much of this is about the intentional redesign of our environment to enable us to become the person that we want to be through engineering the behaviors that we want to do more of. So architecture is all about designing that. It is so much more than coaching, but it also does, of course, include coaching as well. So it's all about engineering and intentionally designing the leaders that we want to become. So it starts with, knowing where you actually want to get to, and then creating the structure, the ritual, the process, and the framework for you to get there. And that sounds like it might be really boring, but consistency is key. Consistency is where we know that this is how we show up well. What's the one thing every aspiring leader gets backwards? Okay, stop going for promotion. What you need to do instead is learn how to become a great leader. And yes, I am going to tell you exactly how to do that. I tell you exactly how to do that in my book, Promotion Isn't the Point. If you are aiming for a promotion at work, you are missing the point. If you're moving from manager to leader, if you're trying to secure your first leadership role, or if you're already in a leadership role but you've never had this kind of training before, you need to focus on how to become a great leader. And there are 3 deliberate layers of how you do this. You master your craft, you master yourself, and you master your systems. And if you want to know what they are, click the link in below and order a copy of my book, because that is exactly what I talk about. What does elite actually mean to you? Okay, this is a really interesting one. So the traditional definition of elite is obviously kind of exclusionary. It's about, thinking that they're better than everybody else. I stand to reclaim this word. So elite to me is about elevation, not exclusion. And it is possible, not easy, but possible for anyone who is willing to design for it. What I'm trying to do here is give you everything that you need to become an elite level version of yourself. It's not about kind of looking down on those around you. It's about self-actualization. It's about creating the environment for you to thrive. It's about feeling great. And it's about, becoming the best version of yourself at work, but also in your personal life as well. Why does the promotion come when you stop chasing it? Is the next question. So the promotion comes when you stop chasing it because you start focusing on the stuff that actually matters. If you're focusing on getting a promotion, you're focusing on the wrong goal. It comes because you focus, if you follow my book, if you follow the instructions, you focus on how to become a great leader by mastering your craft, yourself, and your systems. This is the key to becoming a great leader, but also attracting the promotion. So when we start to do these things, there's also a kind of secondary energetic level to this, which is massive. And it happens with every single one of my clients, whether they really believe in this stuff or not. Every single one of them leans into this. So when we start to master our craft, ourself, and our systems, we start to show up differently. We're redefining who we are. We're stepping into a next level. We're upgrading our mindset and we're upgrading our identity. And this is where the magic happens, because energetically the universe sees that you're taking aligned action, and suddenly she meets you there. And suddenly all these opportunities that you never thought possible start to appear. And this is where the magic happens. This is why you stop chasing the promotion. What's the most dangerous thing a manager can do to their own career? Ooh, great question. Okay, so what's the most dangerous thing a manager can do for their own career? So a few things. Lots of people stay in a job that they don't love because they don't hate it enough to do anything about it, or they get paid really well, so they think that kind of compensates for the fact that they don't love what they do. If you're a manager and you want to become a leader, first of all, you need to learn how to become a leader. You need to learn how to speak the language of leadership. And yes, that is also covered in my book, Promotion Isn't the Point. Link below if you want to get a copy of it. the most dangerous thing a manager can do is not work within their zone of genius, is not understand themselves. So if you want to, the irony of it is that if you want to progress and you start with who you are and what you love and what you're good at and what the world needs and what you believe is your purpose, all this kind of great stuff, is that actually by leaning into those things, you will supercharge that promotion. You will get there faster. So the irony is, take the eye off the promotion, look at leadership through the lens of mastering your craft, mastering yourself, and mastering your systems, and then you get there. In terms of the most dangerous thing, there are loads of things actually that managers need to do. So like managing up is a really important one. So talking to your own manager. Oh my God. So if you want to, okay, here's a good thing. Here's an important thing. If you want to get promoted at work, if you want to become a leader, if you want to go to the next level and you want your manager's backing to do that, the most important thing you need to do is to talk to them. You need to tell your manager that this is what you want to do. And you need to ask for their support in getting there. So this is what you say. Pause this as soon as you've listened to it and then send this message. So whether it's on Slack or Teams or internal messenger or whatever it is that you use, say this. Hi, whatever your name is. I've been thinking about and reflecting on my career, and I'd like to push for the next level by the end of the year. We're halfway through the year. It's early June as I record this. You've got plenty of time to set the scene now to make this happen by the end of the year. So I'd like to reset on where I am in my career, and I'd love to get to whatever the next level is by the end of the year. Can you tell me what you would like to see more of from me and what you would like to see less of from me in order to get there? And then what you also need to do is go onto your internal systems and find out what resources they've got online for you to have a look at. This is really, really important, because if there's already resources there, don't go and ask your manager. That looks really lazy. It looks like you just can't be asked. So have a look online. First up, send that message to your manager. Have a look online what the resources are. Say you want to get to the next level, blah, blah, blah. Prepare for your next one-to-one with them. If you don't have one-to-ones regularly already in the diary, then make sure that you rebook them in, or you book it in now as part of that message that you've just sent your manager. And then, like I said, in the meantime, go and have a look at what the advice is and go to that meeting with your manager prepared with as much information as you can find online, and ask for their support as well. Okay, that is the end of question 12, although I think we actually started on question 3 or something. But this is the end of the first part. So thank you for being here. If you found that useful, please do stay tuned. There are going to be 4, maybe even 5 parts of these Q&As about all things leadership. So thanks for being here, and I hope I'll see you next time. Bye.